All right, again, guys, Mike here in St. Louis, doing the intelligence gathering video. Going to be showing you as far as taking the photos, the digital photographs, and gathering the intelligence in a survival scenario or a tactical scenario. You're going to have probably using this Nikon P900. And an example I'm going to use is that structure, which in this case is a residence, brown building. And in this normal cases, this is going to be this, basic training video here. But and the only other thing I'm going to be doing normally in a real scenario is I'm going to have my face painted up, and I'm going to have this camera covered up, and I'm going to have netting over this. I don't have that all on me right now, so hopefully you appreciate that. There's actually a tornado watch here going on at the moment, so so I'm knocking these videos out. So I'm going to be set up here. I'm going to have my camera steadied up just like it's a rifle platform, and maybe on my knees. I'm going to be looking through and focusing on this building until I can get the perfect distance on things and get the focus. And then when I'm ready, getting these pictures. And these pictures I'm going to want, or again, if you're gathering intelligence, I'm going to be getting details. And so in this case, I can see that there is a brown building, basement with white walls. I've got a deck, a rear wooden deck. I see a central air unit. Looks like storage room under the deck. Some type of white lattice thing. Some chairs on the top of the back deck, entrance into the back of that residence. So again, this was in a survival scenario. I'm gonna want to dictate any vehicles, any license plates, or like again, tactical, sniper mission, whatever. How many, maybe we'll just use the term bad guys, are people coming out of there, or if that's a drug house we're watching and for law enforcement operations. But again, that's pushing over, that's probably like 225 or 250 yards there. So again, if someone was really trying, I could be back in here and camouflaged up a little better than this, but it's going to be real hard for them to see me. Again, black is not a color that's in nature, so this is going to be covered up in a real scenario. This is going to stand out to someone that's really looking. Now, if someone was looking with an optic, they could look over here, they could see me clear as day, but we're going with what's in most normal scenarios. If you're getting in and out, then that also is going to reduce you getting caught and the risk of some guy looking around, scanning around for you. I'm also going to be proned out here as well, and I'm going to be looking through this stuff. So I'm doing this to give you an idea how this looks and how this is going to work, but to also let you know that in a real world scenario, I'm going to go from, I'm not going to be sitting up like this. I'm going to be proned out, and this is going to take my profile already down from what I was to down to here. And then keep in mind, in the same time, I'm going to have this camera and I'm going to have gloves on. I'm going to have a green netting over this camera. There is no way someone's going to see me like this. Now, do not get complacent, and when you go to get out of here, make sure you have a pre-planned way out where you can move slowly and move at a snail's pace and sniper crawl away, or if it's to back out slowly over a hill and then get out of there. You do not want to be complacent or just lazy and then just going like this and going, okay, I'm done, and just standing up like some Sasquatch in the middle of the woods. So and again, while I'm here doing the surveillance or the intel gathering, it's going to be a combination of note taking and actually doing surveillance. The other thing is, if I have a partner, especially if I'm a sniper team, my buddy may be pulling security and watching out for bad guys, but at the same time, I could also be telling them, 2 white males carrying AKs, black truck, there's a shed in the rear of the property, there's dogs barking in the area, another car just showed up, 1 Hispanic male, 1 black male, 2, they're carrying handguns. All these details you want to gather all this, license plates. And again, for you guys that are preppers and survivalists, which we're pumping out a lot of these videos for, you know, you want to, again, be figuring out what information you need. And if you're going to be looking for like food, water, and shelter in a survival scenario, you do not want to be obviously going into an area where you already know these guys look like they're a threat. And just body language wise alone, from my training and experience in the last 28 years, I can tell you, even if someone, you do not see them with a weapon, you can 100% tell by the way a guy walks and carries himself if he's a fighter. And guys usually kind of strut around, have their chest out, and they're the brawler type, walking around with their fist all doubled up and have this, you know, frown on their face, and it's just trying to look all intimidating. But if you see people that have those personalities and walk and talk and carry themselves that way, you know, you got to also think then the guy probably has weapons somewhere. So if you're sitting here and you're doing surveillance before going into an area, you really need to spend your time watching that area first. And also, one thing I skipped past but is also important, and you hunters are already aware of this, is when you're first entering an area and infiltrating, whether it's, you know, dusk, dawn, middle of the night, whatever, you also want to, get out there and set up and then be quiet and let everything kind of settle down. The noise you made, hopefully you didn't make any noise, but if you broke a twig, if the birds got stirred up, you want to sit there, you want to wait about 10 or 15 minutes and let everything settle down. You want to take in also the noise, the surrounding, anything around you going on in that environment. And then once you feel comfortable, then begin doing your intel gathering, your reconnaissance. And this is something, you know, taking my investigations experience as well, you know, something that would be fun to teach guys. Because I mean, just because a guy's in a SWAT team, or just because guys are doing whatever, they're not always real good at this. Being stealthful and sneaking around or counter drug missions or whatever. Humans in the wood are usually a total train wreck because we're noisy and we like to step on things and break twigs, and those sounds in the outdoors are amplified by 1,000. Our voices are amplified by 1,000 times. If you have any light at all emitting at nighttime, people can see it a mile away. If you're dealing with an enemy scenario, especially a sniper, if they see that, I mean, you might be toast. It's like in Vietnam, they talked about guys smoking cigarettes, and that orange light when they would puff the cigarette, people could just aim at that and take a shot at you, pot shot. So, and if they're aiming small, then they're gonna miss small. So if they're aiming at a cigarette, lit, and they miss, they're probably still gonna hit you in the head. So the thing is, in these scenarios, again, this training, intelligence gathering, surveillance, or counterintelligence, this can all be applied to, like I said, for you guys are preppers, survivalists, bodyguard companies, SWAT teams, military guys. The military guys obviously are going to the schools, getting their training in all of this. But in my background, was doing as a police sniper was totally different than the military applications. Generally, the distance for doing many police sniper operations is under 50 yards. In some cases it could be like 100, but that's stretching it. Military could be 2, 3, 500, and then in very rare cases up to 1,500 yards. So again, this video is just a combination to help some people think outside of the box and understand the mission planning when you're trying to watch somebody is very risky. And unfortunately, a lot of those mistakes, you just cannot afford to make them, because you might get caught, killed, captured, tortured, arrested, whatever. And you've got to be, have a lot of presence of mind, and know yourself and know the enemy. In other words, just like they say in the Art of War, and then just make sure you got the right equipment, the right training, you're in the right physical condition, you have hydration, snacks. If it's in a dangerous scenario, maybe weapons. If you're a hunter and you're just out scouting for places to hunt, or before the season, you can apply all these same things. Being stealthful, looking for trails, here, you know, right here in front of me. This is not, you know, some enemy's trail, but this is a deer trail right here, you know, coming through. So again, paying attention to the nature and surroundings. Right here, we got actually fresh deer scat right here on the ground. Get a picture of this right here. So paying attention to these details, and this is exactly what, if you leave, and there's berries off the trees, if you leave anything behind as a guy in the woods and you're doing, if you're a sniper or whatever, and the enemy's coming along, or they're actually tracking you and they know somebody's out there, this is exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to be paying attention to signs. They're going to be paying attention to limbs broken like this. They're going to be paying attention to, you know, where someone had came in and stepped on stuff and smashed it down. It even shows the direction I'm going. So if you're going through places, you got to be very careful what you're doing. And or over here you have the dry, dusty areas where I was stepping in. Could leave a perfect boot track in there. So if somebody is trying to track you down, you're going to make it real easy for them, and you got to be very careful. Another thing that's a very good tactic to do is to put the time into having an underground hide site, literally dug out where you're under the ground. You've got logs, thatchings, weeds, everything over top of you. Someone could literally walk over it and not even know you're there. So if you could put yourself in a hole like that, you'd be pretty well off. But even if you're in an escape and evasion scenario and people are looking for you, you know, sometimes you got to have get really creative, and you know, simply putting, if you don't have camo face paint, and you know, like I said, you got to sometimes use what you have access to, but putting dirt or mud on your face, climbing up a tree really high if you're trying to just not get caught, or if you do get burned, or you may be running out of there. So a lot of things can go wrong if you get caught, and that's where if you do the planning beforehand, that's probably not going to happen. So all right guys, thanks for watching.